Boris Johnson's Brexit deadline is on Thursday, but the EU looks set to ignore the time limit and expect the UK to follow suit. Should the UK walk away from talks if the EU miss this week's deadline? Vote in our poll below. Last month Boris Johnson gave the EU until October 15 to secure a post-Brexit trade deal with the UK, in order to ensure both parliaments had enough time to ratify an agreement. But Michel Barnier, the bloc's chief Brexit negotiator, has suggested the deadline will not be adhered to. He has told EU ambassadors the talks will continue past Thursday's deadline and does not believe the UK will pull out of the talks if an agreement is not reached this week. On Friday, a senior EU diplomat said, negotiations will continue. It is not a deadline. Another said, I don't detect any readiness on the British side to suspend the negotiations. This is going to continue. It is not a deadline. Brussels are keen to extend the trade talks until the end of the month, rather than stopping on October 15. The European Parliament has said it could ratify an agreement if one arrived before November. Informal Brexit talks are taking place in Brussels this week, ahead of a European Council summit on Thursday. Mr. Johnson has said the meeting is his deadline for a deal, having imposed the time limit early last month. In September he said that without agreement it would be time to accept and move on. But the two sides are still at a stalemate, as they are unable to agree on a number of key areas, notably fisheries and the level playing field. Mr. Barnier is understood to be nearing a climb-down over the contentious issue of fishing rights, but several EU leaders have insisted the negotiator stands firm on the issue. French President Emmanuel Macron is a leading member of the so-called Coastal 8 group, which are firmly against any concessions being made on fisheries. The EU leaders have told Mr. Barnier he must insist the same fishing rights continue after the EU transition period ends. Britain is vowing for a new quota system, but several EU leaders want fisheries to remain unchanged. Mr. Barnier has also been told he must stand tough on enforcement rules, and ensure the level playing field demand is not scrapped. But these two areas form part of the Prime Minister's red lines, where he vowed the UK would not cave.